All right. Okay. I'm trying to record this after school, so if there are distractions in the back, I apologize. It's just some rowdy people. Okay. So yesterday we were talking about PHA stages of cognitive development. Today we're talking about like social development and how body contact and like physical touch is like really important to our social development. And we know that because of a very, very famous study brought to you by a guy named Harry Harlow. And so Harry Harlow, what he did is he had a whole bunch of rhesus monkeys and he would take them away as soon as they were born. You can actually see a picture on the screen right over there. Um, Not that screen, you guys. Do y'all want to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what he did is he took these baby like hours old rhesus monkeys away from their mother, and then he gave them fake mothers. And one of them you can see here on the left is a wire mother. It's cold, it's hard, but she has milk. And then we have a soft, warm terry cloth towel mother with a nice pretty face here. And for the longest time we thought that babies love their mother because the mother fed them. Whoever is feeding them, that's who they're going to create this bond with. And so we thought for the longest time that the rhesus monkey would gravitate towards the wire monkey because it had milk, when in actuality the monkey spent like 90% of its day on the cloth, on the soft comforting mother, and like less than 10% of the day on the mother with the milk. So when it comes to contact and creating like a bond, it has more to do with like creature comfort and like touching rather than nutrition and milk. And so even when and I'm gonna have you guys in just a second pause this and click on this link. This is a link of I'm not gonna click on it because I may be breaking copyright violations. But click on this and it's gonna send you to YouTube of an actual experiment done by Harry Harlow where he frightens the rhesus monkey and how the rhesus monkey responds to being frightened. It's going to go seek comfort, not from the mother who feeds it, but from the mother who gives it comfort and touch. In fact, they did several of these experiments, and if you're interested, I have a link to a podcast. It's only like maybe 10 minutes long about Harry Harlow's original experiment. And they had these monkeys as abusive mothers, where if the rhesus monkey would actually touch and love on the cloth mother was loaded with springs and spikes, where it would actually spike out and hurt the monkey. And the monkey, even though it was being hurt by the mother, kept on trying to comfort the mother and trying to, it would coo and it would make noises. And I was trying to be really sweet. It was like apologizing for making the mother angry. So kind of you can see that in like abusive relationships in humans. Even when the parents are abusive, the children will think that there's something wrong that they did, and they will try to bring about loving feelings again back in the mother. So you can click this link here to see what happens when the rhesus monkeys are only given the milk mother. They were given no body contact. They weren't even offered the option between the wire and the cloth. They were only given the wire monkey, and how that changed their development, and the fact that they like could not socialize once they were put back into like a colony of like other rhesus monkeys. So there's a picture from that video clip. So, but definitely before you move on, like right now would be a good time to watch these two clips of Harry Harlow and his monkeys and the effects of no body contact. So another person that you need to know, and it's our like first woman psychologist, so fantastic, Mary Ainsworth. And I'm going to have you watch this clip here in just a second. Mary Ainsworth, what she did is she was trying to detect what type of emotional bond, what type of an attachment that babies have with their mother. And so they set up an experiment where a baby is left, it looks like a waiting room. The baby is brought in with a mom, and then the mom leaves, leaving the baby in this waiting room, and how they respond. All babies are going to cry when the mom leaves, but it's how the baby reacts when the mom comes back into the class, into the room. Is the baby comforted by her return, or are they inconsolable, or are they like sullen and like sad? most babies that they did this experiment on, like 60% of babies had this secure attachment, meaning that they were comforted by the mother's return and they saw the mother as a secure base and they had the secure attachment. And that happens because in the past, the mom has been responsive. When the baby cries, the mom has come. When the baby is hungry, the mom has fed the baby. When the baby is uncomfortable, the mom helps, or whoever the caregiver is. Keep in mind, most of these studies are being done in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so mom was the primary caregiver. So every time that I say mom, just know that I'm also talking about mom, dad, whoever the primary caregiver is. An insecure detached baby either would not be comforted by the mother's return or would be angry at the mother, like they push her away. This is due because the mother has not been responsive. Maybe she has been, absent. When the baby cries, the mom doesn't always come. She doesn't always respond in a timely manner. And so that's what would create an insecure attachment. And there's a critical period for attachment. In the very early stages in life, if there's no attachment, no physical bond being brought to you by a mom who's attentive or a mom who actually cuddles, there is no, it's a use it or lose it type of scenario. Like you don't have attachments to anything unless that first attachment is made shortly after birth. So we're talking about the first few years of life. A famous case study with attachment is a girl named Jeannie. Jeannie is not her real name. She's a case study, and she was actually physically, emotionally abused from the day that she was born. She was born healthy, and her parents kept her in a basement her entire life, and like strapped to a chair. She was not clothed. When she was found, I want to say that she was like 14 years old, but she had the body size of like a 9-year-old. They thought she was in elementary school when really she was 14, 15, somewhere around there. And so that's how malnourished she was. She didn't know how to walk. She didn't know how to talk. And because she was strapped to a chair her whole life, and the only thing she knew how to say was no. So when she was rescued by CPS from that scenario, she could not form really any attachment to any of her caregivers. She was put into foster care. She never had that attachment because she never had the chance to have an attachment, a healthy attachment as a baby. And so she, unfortunately, she was put into foster care and she was showing signs of improvement. She was learning how to walk. She was learning how to talk, and there was like healthy growth, but in that foster care environment she was sexually abused, and so she actually regressed and went back to not knowing how to walk or talk. um, I believe she is still alive today. She's probably in her 70s today, but she lives in like a mental health facility, and she just doesn't have any close emotional contact with another human being because she lacked that as a child. Okay. Oh, I don't want to play that. That's breaking the rules. Okay. Let's talk about the different types of parenting styles. And you can think about what type your parent is. There's the rule follower. This is the authoritarian parent. This is going to be very, very high rules. Not that much communication. They're going to say, my way or the highway. It's my roof. I make the rules. If you don't like them, you can get out. High expectations. Usually, they like strict and they like obedience. That does not create a healthy child. That creates a child who suffers with depression, anxiety, and aggression, and usually do go on to like not having a healthy relationship with their parents later on. So this is not a good type of parenting style. Then there's the exact opposite. This is the permissive. So they're indulgent. There's no rules. They like let the kids party and do whatever. There's no enforcement of anything. They don't have any boundaries. They're like best friends with their kid. And you might think, oh, well, that's good. My mom's my best friend. Your mom should not be your best friend. Your dad should not be your best friend. There should be some sort of hierarchy. And when there isn't any, and there's like level playing field, you have a child who doesn't have any impulse control. They typically do not do well academically, and they have increased alcohol use because there hasn't been any rules enforced. So they do not see rules as something that needs to be enforced. And now we've got down to our the obviously the better. This is the healthy type of parenting style. Authoritative. So authoritarian, that's your dictator parent. Permissive is just all like, oh, whatever you guys want type of parent, of like, there's no rules. And then the authoritative, they're going to have rules, but they are reasonable rules and they're communicated to the child. It's like, so let's say that you have a curfew. Authoritarian is like, well, you need to be back because those are the rules of my house. And if you don't like that, then you don't need to live here. Permissive is all like, oh, curfew, you break it or not, there's not going to be any consequences. Authoritative is like, here's the reason why we have a curfew. We have a curfew because I need to make sure that you are safe, and I want to make sure that you're safe before I go to bed. And there is a curfew in Tomball, so if you're under the age of 18, so you'd be following the rules anyway. So reasonable demands, but they're responsive to you. So what is the effect on the child? Well, a positive effect. They're independent, self reliant, successful, and typically well mannered people that are created through an authoritative parent. So, what I want you guys to do is I'm going to post a link on Schoology. You guys are going to be submitting an example from either TV or movies of an authoritarian parent, a permissive parent, and an authoritative parent. So I need you to find a TV or movie example of each of those three types of parenting styles. Uh, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.